welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we see a lot of new faces and some returning ones as we review Skybound's Transformers number 27. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2025, and this is episode 472 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that, like a lot of Skybound Autobots, is actually not dead after all. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Turns out it was a flesh wound after all. How you doing?
The amazing and awesome producer and editor, Mike.
I got better. Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to contribute and help keep this show going. If you are not a Donatreon and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. Get lots of perks of membership. That includes bonus content. It includes getting to watch the show live, getting entered into contests, some merch, lots of good stuff. And that includes stuff like our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. And this week we have episode 150, Faith.exe has stopped responding. And this is the regular version of that episode. You can get that at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. Of course, if you're a Donatron, you will already have access to episode 151 this Monday, when we release the bonus uncut version a week early before the new episode drops. So enjoy that. Mike, we talked about it in the main show. It's a big milestone to reach episode 150, and we have a new player who joined the cast recently. Lots of good stuff. Any upcoming teases you can give us for any stuff that's coming up that people might be anticipating?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to be, we actually just had a recording session for Empire of Rust today. Today as we record, not today as you actually listen to this. And we are just about ready to wrap up this story arc. And then we'll be moving on to kind of a really big thing coming up. It's going to start the road to the end, like the road to wrapping up Empire of Rust. So it's going to be an exciting time.
All right, looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to the end, but I'm looking forward to new adventures. So yeah, Let's keep going. All right, we've also got our Toy Hacks promo code for the month of December. So use that code BELLBOTS for 15% off everything at toyhacks.com. Again, that code is BELLBOTS, and you can save 15% off every purchase at toyhacks.com throughout the month of December. Use that code as many times as you like. Cannot be combined with any other promo codes, but you can use it with your RoboPoints. So enjoy. Okay, let's get into the show where you've got a comic review to do.
Oops, there we go. And Daryl's not here, so let's review a Transformers comic. We have Transformers number 27, and this is going to be a full spoiler-filled review, so make sure you've read it or don't care about spoilers, because this is it's a little meaty. Not a lot happens, but a lot happens. So this was written by Robert Kirkman, art by Dan Mora, colors by Mike Spicer, letters by Russ Wooten, and the editor is Ben Abernathy. The book starts as Brawn is looking at the body of Bumblebee, and he's asking Trailbreaker what happened to him. Trailbreaker answers, Starscream happened. And unfortunately, there's not enough left of Bumblebee's spark to revive him. And Trailbreaker says that not even taking him to the Well of Souls on Cybertron would do anything for him. Brawn is pissed and he wants to get his hands on Starscream and the other Decepticons. Trailbreaker knows that Prime wouldn't like hearing it, but he also agrees. A voice behind them tells them that Starscream was good once. And as we see Jetfire walking in, he says that there's nothing left of the bot that he once knew. Brawn is happy to see Jetfire, who has been fully restored, but Jetfire tells the two about the condition that he had been in and said that it was probably worse than being dead, not being able to move or see and being stuck in his alt mode. A new bot enters the room, wanting to know why everyone's so depressed. Bulkhead has been revived, and apparently no one filled him in on the state of things. He also doesn't read the room before saying, "I'm back, so it's time to celebrate." The response he got was silence. He then realizes that this is the room where they've been keeping their dead, and he apologizes. And then he lets them know that Mirage is being revived right now if they wanted to check him out. And then the three of them leave Bulkhead just standing in the room. Outside, Spike and Carly are sitting together. Spike's telling Carly that they should go get a quiet dinner. Chicago's nearly been cleared and ready for rebuilding, and the Autobots are working on repairing and reviving all their fallen comrades. So he's not sure if they're really even needed here, and maybe some normalcy will help the two of them. Carly's not sure if they're even allowed to go, but then they're interrupted by General Flagg. He asks Carly if she remembers him, and then he immediately answers his own question by saying, "Of course you remember me." He wants to thank her, but he also apologizes for not being very trusting of her earlier. She doesn't get a chance to respond, though, as Ultra Magnus sees Flagg and tells him that they need to talk now. He holds Flagg up in his hand, and he tells him that out of respect for what Flagg and his people have done for the Autobots, he's not going to tell Prime about Flagg's torture of him. Flagg is aghast at the mention of torture, and he says that they were under attack by an alien race of robots, and they only recently learned the difference in the factions. Red symbols are good, purple ones are bad. Flagg says that he deserves a little leeway, and he thinks Optimus would agree. Magnus looks on with a sour look on his face. Elsewhere, the Combaticons have hijacked a dam, and they're using it to generate some energon. It's low quality and probably won't last them a day, but it's better than nothing. They're surprised when Skywarp teleports in, and Swindle offers to let them shoot some of the humans. Skywarp says that they need to get back to Megatron. He's got some things to report. And Swindle says that they're almost to the limit of what they can get with this old equipment, and they'll be done soon. So Skywarp then does take the offer and takes out a few of the workers. In the woods near the Autobots Ark, Thundercracker is sitting by a giant tree as Optimus sits down next to him. Thundercracker says that he had a feeling that he didn't belong since arriving on Earth. And while he still believes in the Decepticon cause, he doesn't believe in the brutality. Optimus says that they have their differences, but the violence that they laid on each other on Cybertron has a much worse effect on Earth. And he's happy to hear that Thundercracker has the same views on this. He hopes other Decepticons can share that opinion, but Thundercracker says he shouldn't count on it. They are all loyal to Megatron above all, and they don't see the majesty of this planet. Optimus says that there's some of his Autobots that would probably agree with that. They see Earth as being beneath them. Thundercracker can see that point of view, and he says that between 100 Earth creatures and one of his brothers, he would probably choose his brother, but that doesn't mean that he wants the Earth creatures to die. Optimus says that he's sorry but he shouldn't be ashamed of those feelings. But he's also sorry that his brothers don't feel that way. He then tells Thundercracker that they're allies now, and if he shows devotion to the Autobots, it will be returned in kind. Optimus leaves him, telling Thundercracker that if he sticks with them, Optimus will make an Autobot out of him yet. And then after he leaves, Thundercracker says to himself, he thinks he already has. At the Shadow Watch base, Flagg is confronting Miles Mayhem. He's asking Mayhem if he's had time to get all the information he needs from the robots to complete his project. Mayhem is insulted that Flag thinks that he needed the robots' technology and he was actually just using their data to check his work. He yells that he's on his own path. Then Flag reminds him that Matt Tracker was on that path with him for much of the project. And then Mayhem explodes at hearing that name. He says he's had enough of the charade. He tries punching Flag, who easily sidesteps and then kicks him in the gut with a knee. Flag then pushes 3 fingers under Mayhem's chin against his mandibular nerve. This temporarily paralyzes Mayhem, and Flag runs him down, saying that it's clear that Mayhem has been hiding things from the U.S. government. Mayhem has said that he's nearly done, but Flag hasn't even seen a prototype. Wherever Mayhem is hiding it, Flag says that he's going to find it. And then he says that they don't take kindly to traitors, and he orders the nearby soldiers to arrest Mayhem. Back at the Ark, Optimus is looking at the bodies of some of the dead Decepticons. Wheeljack is telling him that everyone that can be restored has been, and it's time for Optimus to get the repairs that he needs. But Optimus can't stop himself from wanting to revive the Decepticons. Wheeljack says that it's not a good idea, and Thundercracker agrees. Thundercracker tells him that while he respects what Optimus wants to do, reviving them will cause too much damage. Optimus recognizes that it's a weakness that he has, where he projects kindness where none can be found, and he finally says that he will go get his repairs. Outside of the Ark, Magnus is training with Sideswipe and Blaster. He accidentally throws Blaster into Sideswipe, knocking them both to the ground. He apologizes, but then gives Sideswipe some tips on how to be more accurate with the shots. RC arrives, asking Magnus why he wanted to see her, and then the two go and walk. Magnus tells her that he doesn't believe he's qualified to be in his position any longer. RC says that he seemed to be doing just fine with Sideswipe and Blaster, but Magnus says that he's too distracted, he's slower, and he's more hesitant in battle. RC promises to do everything she can do to help him, and Magnus says that while he knows that, he says that Shockwave's torture is going to take a long time to overcome. He wants her to succeed him as the Autobots' new Magnus, as he no longer feels worthy of the title. Inside the Ark, Brawn, Mirage, and Trailbreaker are seeing something that they never thought they'd see. Thundercracker says that this feels strange to him as well, but he'll do everything he can to earn the Autobot insignia that he now wears on his wings. Wheeljack says that that's about as much as they can ask of him, and he welcomes him to the Autobots. Bulkhead isn't as convinced, and he thinks that the standards have been lowered since he was out of action. What's next? Megatron joining? Wheeljack says he doesn't think Optimus would approve of him saying that, and Bulkhead quickly apologizes. Then he turns around to see a fully repaired Optimus Prime, telling the Autobots that they've got a new mission to rid the planet of Decepticons once and for all. And then on Cybertron, Cliffjumper is trying to escape Decepticon territory after getting what Elita 1 needed. He sneaks past Dirge and transforms and thinks he made a clean exit. However, on a tower looking down, swearing to destroy him soon, is a heavily damaged Shockwave. To be continued. So this book was zero action at all. And part of me regrets that Daryl's not here. After making him suffer through G.I. Joe books, we could make him suffer through a Transformers book, because this is not the type of book he usually enjoys. But I didn't hate the book. I thought, well, for one, the art was still amazing. Dan Mora is still just knocking it out of the park. But this is just a lot of kind of plot, like moving things. It's more telling than showing, which I usually don't like in comics, but pretty much the entire Daniel Warren Johnson run was showing and just nonstop action. So we're kind of getting the plot side of things right now. So it's kind of expecting it, and it just, I would have liked to have a little bit of action, but I like having Braun back. Braun is a character I always enjoy. And I thought the characterization of him here fits what we've always seen of Braun. Nice to see that that Jetfire is back to being repaired. I like the progression of Spike and Carly, that they're trying to figure out, or I guess work through everything that they've been through. I wasn't so big on Bulkhead's characterization. Like, I don't know if this is more the Transformers animated characterization of Bulkhead. But when I think of him, especially the way he looks here, I think of Prime. And this is definitely a less mature Bulkhead. So it's going to take a while to get used to that. But I did enjoy General Flag. I haven't really enjoyed him up to this point in this book because I never really knew where he stood on things. But I was partially, I was thinking he was working with Mayhem, and clearly he's not. So, I mean, he still probably has his own machinations and stuff, but he's not going to be part of Mayhem, and we're setting up the mask stuff more clearly here. One thing I thought was neat, I had seen a video recently, like in the last day or two before I read this comic, with Mick Foley, the wrestler. Someone was asking him about his finishing move, which was called what was it called? It was the Mandible Claw. And he was just talking about the kind of the where it would realistically actually have an effect. And it was talking about pushing on that same nerve that Flag did. And I was just kind of thinking that was kind of a coincidence that this book talking about the same nerve. So I thought that was funny. But anyway, I think the book was slow, but it was enjoyable. So I don't know. Getting some of the pieces moved on the chessboard. So, Mike, we haven't really talked to you at all since the Daniel Warren Johnson era on the book.
Right.
What have you been thinking of, like, the Robert Kirkman era overall, and then this book in particular?
So I guess I have a lot of thoughts just about the transition in general. This really does feel like I guess the best thing I can equate it to is like a mid 90s, like early 2000s change in like direction, or change in like leadership effectively for a book, when it's I think in recent years we've lost that. So we've lost like when an artist or a writer changes, oftentimes the book just ends up ending or getting canceled, and then the new writer picks up on a new, volume 1 or something like that. I don't recall seeing a transition like this, especially in a Transformers book, let alone just in general, very often. And I haven't remember seeing it since like the early 90s. Not early 90s, but like mid 90s, early 2000s. I think my experience with it is like on the Green Lantern and Legion of Superheroes books, when an artistic direction changed. And it feels very familiar in that kind of respect. Whereas the decisions that felt solid in the Daniel Johnson era have now all been like turned on their heads. So it felt like Daniel was trying to limit the cast a bit. And it feels like Kirkman is doing the opposite, where he's just spreading the cast out as much as he can.
Like Daniel Warren Johnson had a story he wanted to tell, and now Robert Kirkman is kind of getting all the toys that have now been like thrown all across the room, putting them back in the box and fixing what was broken.
Right. And I'm not saying that, like Daniel's art or Daniel's story was broken by any stretch either. I don't think you are right.
Yeah, I'm not.
But it has a very, very different feel to it. And on some things I like it. Like I don't mind seeing the extra characters around, but it falls back into that same trope of, is a comic book death ever really a death? And the answer is no. It's like, okay, they revived.
I mean, it seems like for Bumblebee it is.
Yeah, but how?
Maybe.
How long? Yeah, how long do you think it's going to last, though? I mean, Jetfire got revived, and I feel that it gets okay. Early in Daniel Warren Johnson's run, it was very clearly established that they have very, very few resources to do anything with. And that was established truth for both sides. And that was a big part of that early run, that early story. He brought it back a little bit towards the middle of it. They got some energy on, they got some way to fix things. But in the end, that lack of resources was still a very big limiting factor in the story. And it feels like that whole thing has just been wiped away.
Well, I mean, the Decepticons are still suffering from resources right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
like the last issue, I think Megatron, like they had enough to heal like some of the bots that Megatron used it all for himself.
Yeah.
Where Optimus hasn't, like he only now healed himself after everyone else was healed.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have like a huge thought about that then. It's so okay, let me back it up for just a second here. I was not a fan of Daniel Johnson's run on it. It is not that I thought the storytelling was bad by any stretch. I actually thought the pacing and the storytelling itself was good, but I disliked a lot of the decisions that were made. Mm-hmm. And that's just an artistic choice, like I can write a novel, but if I'm writing about, like a World War I historical fiction, I'm just not into it. So there's that. And I just think that a lot of the decisions that were made, it's like, okay, I don't particularly care about that. With Kirkman's run, I'm liking it a little bit more, but I still feel that the book is suffering from kind of like a caricature on a lot of things. And Thundercracker's turn in the last issue and in this one is like one of the things that is giving me hope for the book, because I like that. I like that kind of more nuanced character, whereas up until now, both Autobots and Decepticons have felt like just cartoon versions of themselves.
Right.
And I got that, and up until this issue, I got that vibe from General Flag as well. Like the like plastered on smile that he's had for like every time I've seen him just weirds me out. And it makes me feel like he's a hologram or something. He just does not feel real. And this was the first time you saw him actually do something that felt real. It actually felt like it wasn't a caricature anymore. And it's like, oh, okay. But still, at the same thing, like his dialogue, his like attitude, it all does feel very much like a G.I. Joe cartoon caricature. And I really hope that we move beyond that, because we did. The entire IDW run, the first run, Volume 1, we had very nuanced characters. And in the second series, we had nuanced characters. We had very intentional, nuanced storytelling. And it doesn't feel like we're there right now with this book. It seems like we're getting there, and this issue went a long way to getting there, but it does feel like we're losing a lot of the nuance of these characters.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. But I am also hopeful as well. I mean, Thundercracker, even in his toy description in G1, was like he was never happy with the Decepticons or their brutality. And then, in the IDW, the first version, he did kind of defect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just part of his character. And I like that it's kind of, they're bringing it in here, and it does give the Autobots a little bit more air power. So I think that's also good.
Yep. Agreed.
Charles, what were your thoughts on the book?
Well, first, I do agree that the art is pretty excellent. Yeah, I mean, I think all the characters are really nicely rendered here. Particularly RC and Ultra Magnus, and when they have their interaction. Even the humans, I think, are really well done. Although, I would like Carly and Spike to change their clothes once in a while. They've been wearing the same clothes since issue 1.
Yeah.
Well, how long? Well, how long has it been? Like in universe, just like a 2 or 3 days?
No, I mean since issue 1, I think it's been months. It's been several months since issue 1.
Has it?
So, yeah.
I don't know. I guess
I was thinking like a few weeks at most.
I was kind of under the impression that like all this shit was happening like super fast, like almost back to back.
Well, I mean, Spike spent that time in the hospital recovering from a gunshot wound. That had to take several weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess with G.I. Joe, like, because that all started right at the beginning of this book. And then we have, like, we don't know the time frame of everything in G.I. Joe, but they're kind of lined up again now. So yeah, it's got to be a few months, I guess.
Yeah. So bottom line, change your clothes. Spike and Carly. you've got to have more than one outfit at home.
Spike's going for the Marty McFly look here too, with the the puffy like vest.
Yeah, the
life preserver.
What are you, a longshoreman? But yeah, I mean, and I do like I am like I'm a little surprised at all the deaths that are being reversed, but I guess I shouldn't be. I think I'm sure Kirkman was like looking at Daniel Warren Johnson's run and was like, hey, I wanted that guy. I wanted to use that guy. I wanted to use that guy. So he's just basically, and Transformers are in the unique position that they are, since they are robots, you can much more easily retcon deaths to be like, oh, he was heavily damaged, but there was still something survived. But
yeah, I mean, I do like that they're keeping the Bumblebee death, at least right now, and they gave a really good in-universe explanation.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I am really surprised that Shockwave survives. Prime squeezed his head off. I think that seems like you shouldn't be able to just come back from that. And I mean, how did he even get like there? And who's like, did someone repair him? How did he even like get like up on a spire somewhere to look over the landscape of Cybertron? But that's for another day. But yeah, I mean, I mean, in general, I like sometimes a lore focused issue that gives us a kind of a reset of what's going on with all the characters, and not to like, I mean, I'm not against action, but I mean, I'm also, I'm happy to have something that really delves into some characters for a little bit and gives us a breather once in a while. I'm happy to see the Autobots getting back on their feet and like having it feel more like there's a larger cast of characters that they can pull from, even if they're not going to be featured in every issue. Yeah, I was also surprised at the characterization of Bulkhead. That felt really out of place, at least compared to his previous characterizations. But that's fine. I'm curious to see why Kirkman picked Bulkhead in particular to join his this G1 crew. where Bulkhead was, not originally part of G1. So I'm curious what he's going to use him for, which, but I am, and I think the Thundercracker conversion to the Autobots, I like that we have this progression here, but it still felt a little quick. Like it felt like it should have been a few more issues of him in, slowly like gaining admiration for the Autobots before he actually is really slapping the Autobot symbol on his wing. That seems like that would be like the last step in a long journey, rather than like immediately, I'll be an Autobot now.
I wonder if this arc was supposed to be longer, and then Dan Mora like was only able to do the 6 issues, so they compressed a bunch of stuff just to keep the arc contained with him.
Maybe, I don't know. But my last little nitpick, I guess, is I don't like Miles Mayhem stuff. Seems very like, if you're working for the government, you can't just shoot a scientist and cover it up and no one notice. That seems really weird to me. Like last issue, he just like the scientist that's working with him is like, "Hey, we got the scans," and he's just like, "Oh, well, I'll just murder you since you're the only one who knows about it." That seems really really extreme and really unworkable, like working in a secret government facility where you think you can cover up a murder that easily. So I was expecting Flag to like reference that here and say, hey, you murdered a scientist, so we know you're not on the up and up, but he didn't even really mention it. And then
I think
to
Flag
have Miles Mayhem
yet.
like, maybe, but I mean, it's also feels weird like that Miles Mayhem, he's willing to murder a scientist, but then he just takes a swing on Flag. Why didn't he just pull out a gun and try to shoot Flag or something if he's really gonna turn traitor or whatever? But of course, I'm sure Mayhem will escape and he'll take his I think his car was Venom, like his helicopter that turned into a jet in Mask back in the day.
Yeah, that was it.
So we'll probably see that in a couple issues or so. But I think it's a good. I like the direction the story is going. I'm looking forward to seeing what plans Kirkman has in store for everything. But I like expanding the Autobot cast, and also we do see some Decepticon brutality, of course, which that's what the Decepticons are do best. Which that's another thing that annoyed me, was that we don't get a follow up on what happened to Megatron last issue. Like we still don't know like what was going on with Megatron. So hopefully that'll get picked up in a little bit. So
yeah. There's one last thing I'll mention is the dam. Nice kind of going back to something that is a tried and true Transformers reference, going back to the G1 cartoon.
Yep. More Decepticon dam busters.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have anything else you want to mention? Or
looking forward to next issue. Hopefully, the schedule stays on track, so we'll get next issue pretty consistently.
All right. Well, that is it for the comic review.
All right, let's move on to some media news.
Who was doing media news?
we didn't decide that.
Yeah, do you want me to take it? I mean, it's only one thing, right?
Yeah, sure, if you're willing.
Yeah, sure. Voice actor Jess Harnell talks about his time voicing Transformer. Oh, it's just a YouTube video. In media news, we have just one thing. Voice actor Jess Harnell. We have an interview with, not an interview. Let me try that again. All right. So one thing here in media news, voice actor Jess Harnell talks about his time voicing the Ironhide and Barricade in the '07 Transformers movie. This is a short clip on YouTube, and yeah, it's an interesting little talk. He talks about his approach to the character and kind of what he was talking about, thinking about with it. And it's a short video, about 4.5 minutes or so. So yeah, if you get a chance, go ahead and take a listen to that. And that's it for me.
For those who don't know, Jess Harnell is also the voice of Wacko on Animaniacs. So.
Babu.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is he your idol, Jeremy?
No, that's Rob Paulson.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, wrong Acco. There we go.
All right. Well, that's all the news we've got for Alt Mode this week. We don't have any feedback or convention news, so we're gonna call it a day here and say thanks everyone for watching and listening. Of course, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon, and that's why they get a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John Forex Levengood and Steve C. You guys rock. You're awesome. And thank you, Mike, for hanging out with us this week. Anything you'd like to promote while you're here?
No, thank you guys for having me here today. I always appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk Transformers. I think just stick with Empire of Rust. We are just hit episode 150. Now is the best time to join. Got to get those new listeners.
The best time to join is always right now.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's late. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone, check out Empire of Rust, transmissionspodcast.com/rust, and check out everything we've got to, all our Transmissions podcasts. So thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Tell us what you thought of Transformers number 27. And are you still enjoying the Skybound comic? Are you enjoying what Robert Kirkman is doing and the new direction that he's taking the Transformers in the Energon universe? So we'll talk about that, keep talking about that, and we'll be back next week for more goodness. So thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.